Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. We are live in Big Up Studios today. I'm super excited. We've got some Colorado royalty in the house. The Jake Plummer. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but 10 years in the NFL, entrepreneur, father, husband, Colorado enthusiast, and just an advocate, I think, for kindness and human health and wellness in general. Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. That's a nice intro. It's nice to be here. Very nice studio. I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I love this. You're such a great ambassador, knowingly or unknowingly, of Turmeric and Tequila, because you're this awesome juxtaposition of fierce competitor athlete, and yet all the research that I've done on you thus far is like you're super into human kindness and taking care of people and a really kind, open heart, mind, and intentionality around really helping people.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey to get to this point in my life. You'd say, hyper competitive athlete. I used to be hyper competitive, and that was something that definitely changed. That was just an awareness of mine of being hyper competitive and being able to be okay with just the whatever I'm doing, having fun and enjoying it, instead of making it all about winning and losing, the industry I came from in the NFL, it's so, winning and losing. You look at how just this year with the Broncos, how it's gone, like everyone's jumping ship, tanking for the draft to now like, oh, the hottest team in the NFL, 5 in a row. And then they lost. And now they're like, oh yeah, they're back. It's just such a weird cycle to be on that win-loss thing. And I lived enough of that now I really just try to enjoy what I'm doing, whether it's pickleball, handball, anything else competitive, like playing games. It's more just for the fun of it.
Yeah, get back to that joy.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, do you have any hot takes on the Broncos right now?
I love that they stuck together as a team. That shows me a lot about the leadership, which I think they've lacked considerably in the last 3 or 4 years of seeing games, going to games, feeling no passion being at a game. And it's just like, where's your leaders? Where's the guy that's an igniter and a tone setter? And I feel that Russell has made a big step this year to kind of get back to being that guy. And however he does it, I don't know him well enough, or I don't sit with him, or I'm not observing him as a leader. You just know that when your quarterback is doing the things that he needs to do, setting the example, being there, being up in front of everything, that everybody follows that. And he's a great quarterback. I mean, he's so fun to watch. So I know that like the early struggles were a new system. It happens. And now that they're kind of coming together and churning and getting it going, I mean, there's a few games they barely lost. They could real easily be right in the hunt of like playing for the division. So I hope they continue to win, because I think they're gelling and becoming a team that trusts and knows each other. And regardless of anybody outside of them, they really could care less. They're all about themselves. And that's really how I operated when I was playing.
Well, I feel like it's got to be that way. I mean, you just don't, everyone's got commentary and opinions, and we were just talking about extraordinary pressure, because it's also a massive business.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to keep it tight, and you got to keep it in the
It's
locker
funny
room.
because like guys are always like, oh man, we went out there and we did it for the fans. And it's like, that's such bullshit. It's so,
You heard it here. Yeah.
It's so like, I never once went out there and was like, I got to make this throw for the fans. It's like, hell no, man. I'm making the throw because that's my duty and my team expects me to. And then we win and the fans enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going out there motivated by my fans. I have an intrinsic motivation to be the best I can be. And it's for the guy next to me. And it's the linemen in front of me that are, possibly getting CTE just to protect me from a blitzing safety, So those are the guys that you really play for, which is why, you don't let that affect you. And that's why I like this team. The fans were, just bad mouthing everybody early on. And now, they shut that all out and they bonded.
Yeah.
Which is it's a great time to do it.
Absolutely. Well, and it's such a good metaphor for life. I'm such an advocate for life skills through sports, especially for our young people. But the higher you get, like you said, it's a bigger business, and the tighter it's got to stay. And the reality is, in your life, like no one really knows what's going on unless it's you or within your family. And the outside always has an opinion. And you can do things that appeases the outside, which matters. Like you want the fans happy. That's part of it. Yeah. But the reality is, if you're doing your job, you've got to keep that little environment tight and protect yourself to do the job, to make the fans happy.
Yeah. And I think that's what the difference. I hear things, I'm not in the building every day, but I hear things of how the Russell's first year went and how this year is going. I feel like, as a quarterback, you have to embody being the guy in all aspects of that organization. You got to go out into the public. You got to go speak to the kids. You got to stand up in front of the podium when you lose. You got to take a lot of that on yourself. And teams will fire a coach and a GM and keep the quarterback. So you're basically number 2 behind the owner of the team as importance. And so when you're in touch with your players, just like in the world, when you're in touch with your community and you're there for them and you understand why I'm having a bad day, you don't have to come ask. You know that I had to put down my dog of 12 years. You don't need to come ask me. Maybe you just, you know me well enough to know that went through my life, so that I had to deal with that. So you maybe don't jump me on in practice and get that. Like coaches don't care. They're going to jump you no matter what.
Right.
But as a player and as a teammate, being a leader as a quarterback, you got to have a pulse with your whole team.
Yeah.
And I'd come into the facility every day and I'd go down the defensive side of the D lineman and give everybody a 5 and say, how you doing today? Like, you ready to get after it? And like, I try to be with them because I'm so much not as the quarterback and the focal point, but I have to be with them. They have to know that I'm down dirty getting into it with them and that I love them just as much as they love me. And that's when good things happen because they got your back.
Yeah.
When I go out and throw 2 picks in the first half, they don't jump ship. They're like, we got you, Snake. We're going to come through.
Right.
Keep doing your thing. We'll get you the ball back, and that you can't just have that. You have to earn that and you have to build that through awareness and being a human.
Oh man, that's what it is. It's the whole human approach, and that's kind of what Turmeric and Tequila is, the juxtaposition of being all things, but leaning into that side that's good and intentional, and then messy and not perfect, and understanding they're all this, but having compassion for both those sides. So when you look at them as a human, they look at you as a human, and then that builds that trust and that foundation of consistently showing up. But it does start with intentional leadership.
Totally. I mean, you look at who's played here. I mean, Payton Manning.
Yeah,
the guy was above everybody. I mean, on such a pedestal. And so as a teammate, I don't know how he was exactly, but I know what kind of human he is. He's a really good person. He sends back handwritten notes to people. And like, this guy is truly a good human. So, his teammates, whether he's so high up here and it's hard to relate with him and he's got his own entourage, he's still part of that team and demanding that everybody raise their level, And so however you do it, a lot of guys have their own styles. Mine was to, I wasn't ever perfect, but I played my ass off and I worked hard and I ran hard in workouts on Fridays when everybody wanted to fly to Vegas or get out of town. I just led by example because I wanted it. I wanted it bad. I wanted to win. I wanted to win a Super Bowl. I wanted to just feel what it'd be like to be the best during 1 year, not of all time, but just 1 year. Like, we were the best.
God, it's such a short window too to like execute.
So fast.
But that's what makes it so magical. Like those competitive experiences, like it could happen or it could not. Like you just don't know, and you just have to give it what you got and enjoy it right there. Because we get older and time moves on, and like your window of time in the sun is very, very brief.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that time in the sun being
right.
such a well-known, person people talk about. You're in the newspapers, you're on commercials, you're doing all this stuff. But I think more of like when they're done with that, how do players react and assimilate into the normal lives?
Yeah.
A lot of them go right into the booth so they can still have that camera on them and they can still have a voice and they can still, matter by what they're saying. But all they're saying is you got to tackle and you got to rush and you got to make that hit play. They're not really changing the world with what they're doing. Hopefully outside of that, they're good humans.
Right.
Some of them are. Usually the ones on, these stations for a long time know how to treat people right, or else they wouldn't be around. But yeah, how do they come back and find a way to still have camaraderie, community? It's hard to trust people when you're a famous person. You always question someone's motives because all of us, no matter who, have been used or taken advantage of for purposes other than just being a good person and a good human. So
totally. It's
a learning process, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
And what it taught me, what I did. It flew by so fast. 10 years done. I've been out of the league now 17 years.
Oh,
and so
man. Okay.
yeah, it's been a long time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so I always like to ask on Turmeric Tequila before we get into like the business and the stuff now, the time in the sun now. Tell me about like young Jake, because I think who we are as a young person is like who we are, and then we lose it, teens, 20s, 30s, and then the light flicks back on. We kind of get back to that original self. But like, tell me about you as a kiddo.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised by a very loving family. My mom and her side of her family was really close with my cousins. My grandma, who lived close to us, I was raised just about across the street from her from the 3rd grade on. Good parents. My mom and dad separated when I was in the 3rd grade. That was tough, but I had 2 older brothers, and they were they were the most massive sports fans in the world.
Okay.
Like my brothers still know the starting lineup for the 86 Orioles. Like what the hell does that know? I don't know what that serves them for, but they're sports fans. They have been. So I automatically, rolled right into that. I love sports. I love to compete because I was always trying to hang with them and even compete with them. So I got to be pretty hyper competitive to a point of doing things I wasn't proud of on the field or on the court or whatever. But that was just my nature, very passionate, fiery, out there trying to win. But I had a great upbringing, was always provided for. Never knew what I was going to really follow or go do. As a youngster, I had a dream to play in the NFL and win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I wrote a paper in the second grade saying that, I was going to be a starting receiver or running back for the Oakland Raiders and win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Boo to the Raiders, but
yeah.
I'm a Bronco fan. I got it. Okay. So were your brothers in competitive? Like, did they do college?
One brother went to Brown University, ran track.
Okay.
He was real close to qualifying for the indoor worlds in the 800. He was really fast.
Okay.
He had a bad knee injury. My other brother, Eric, the middle one, he played competitive handball in college.
Cool.
An amazing athlete. Could have played college football, but was just like, I don't want that to be my whole life. And so they're all extremely good at hand-eye coordination sports like ping pong and tennis and pickleball. Like they're still hyper competitive. Great though. They always involved me. And, when I couldn't get on a team, they'd come and I'd be on their team and I'd get my chance to do what I could do. So they were always great humblers of me. Like they would humble me if I ever got floating a little too high on the field or thought I was bigger than I should be. They would always be there to bring me back down to earth. So really great family. My biggest supporters, they were there, as much as they could at the games. They watched them all. Yeah. They loved it. They got my cards. We were collecting cards when we were kids, and now I got a football card. I mean, their little brother was on the field doing what I don't know if they dreamed of doing that, but they loved it. They still watch as many games as they can now. And so it was a really, really fun time. Grateful for all those experiences. And, they miss it. They miss that I'm not playing.
I'm sure.
Like, I can't play forever.
Yeah.
I could have played longer. I could have kept going, but I was done. I was ready after 10. I was ready to go and do something else.
When you were a kiddo, were you a nature seeker, like a risk taker? Like, were you running in the forest? Like,
yeah, my dad had a great job and ended up quitting that. We moved up to Smiley Creek in the Sawtooth Mountains when I was 4 years old. And my mom taught 1st through 6th grade at Stanley Elementary. Oh, wow. So she'd get on the bus with my brothers and drive for like 35, 40 minutes to Stanley and teach 1st through 6th grade. And I stayed home with my dad and was running around in the woods around Smiley Creek and Little Creek and playing and having fun. And then I went to school the next year at 5 years old and actually took 1st grade because there was another 1st grader and my mom was just going to teach us both the same. And then we moved back to Boise the year after that. So I got a good introduction into nature and being out in the wilderness and enjoying that. Of course, I went away from that for a while and what my demands were, but always found myself back in the Sawtooth Mountains, backpacking in the summer with my brothers and family. Living here is amazing because there's so many offerings for nature to get just 30 minutes driving the car, get out and just hike up a hill and you're in the middle of beauty. And so I understand it and really appreciate it. With my lifestyle and being busy, I wish I had more time to go to nature, but that's kind of what I'm working towards with all my entrepreneurial things is to free myself up to really go enjoy that and let that be part of what drives me and continues to help me on my evolution.
I hear that. Well, I think we're close in age. I graduated high school in 99.
Okay.
And at the time, there wasn't really a lot of conversation around mental health, even physical health. I look back, I was a D1 athlete and it was like, I looked at our package, like, don't eat McDonald's, like work out twice a week. Like there really wasn't intense, like nutritional guidance. At what point did you start to like really be intentional about your nutrition and your mental health? Like were these conscious conversations in your college years or even high school years?
My mom was pretty holistic growing up. We would take garlic and honey if we had a cold coming on and echinacea, and she fed us tofu. We were not vegetarian, but we didn't eat a whole lot of meat. My grandmother was a vegetarian, an old Seventh-day Adventist, from the beginning there. She was way ahead of her time. But my mom was very into health and taught us, to be aware of what we put in our bodies. She never told us, don't do this, don't do that. She just made us aware of there are other options and other ways to serve your body with nature and with natural stuff. So that and my aunt, they were all into gardening, and my aunt still makes a tincture, my Aunt Sue, that's like a wellness tonic with, soak in alcohol, echinacea, habanero peppers, and all these good little herbs and stuff to make a concoction that helps just with giving your body, plants to feel better. So I've always known about that stuff. And also grew up in a family that had relatives from San Francisco. So we knew about other things too that, now are legal here, like marijuana. It wasn't like I knew about marijuana. It wasn't like I believed in, here's your brain on drugs. Like some drugs, your egg's going to be sizzling in the pan, but not marijuana. I've watched my friends and some family that are like totally functioning and having high level conversations while they are passing around a joint, So it's like, I knew from just my upbringing, being in an open-minded family that was exploring other options rather than just go to the doctor and take a pill.
Yeah.
So grateful for that with my mom and into athletics. I was stupid. I drank after games.
College is college.
And even in the pros, but I was pretty cognizant of the food. I didn't eat a lot of fast food. Of course I would if I was in a hurry and needed food. But yeah, I didn't do much other than work out and see the trainers. And I had a great trainer in Phoenix, Brett Fisher, who now is with the Lions, was with the Cardinals for a while. And he really taught me about, when you're working out, drinking the right supplements or like taking protein shakes and taking care of your body, putting good food back into it. But I already knew that, I already knew it was important.
You were definitely ahead of the game. I mean, like as 80s babies and 90s kids, like just really wasn't a ton of conversation. But I see now what our kiddos get exposed to, and they're conscious consumers. Like they really know how to read the details.
My kids read labels. Like, Dad, this has palm oil and it's got 26 grams of added sugar. Like, good, I got you.
We had to like get our education in between. And I always say like our practitioners, and shout out to Sean. This is how we got connected. Yeah. Sean's ahead of the game. Dr. Sean Burkhardt, he was on a couple casts ago. So you want to know, go check that out. He's doing big things around brain health, mental health. But I always tell my practitioners, they've got, not only are they helping our bodies, but they've got that 20 to 30 minutes or even 15 minutes for chiro where they have like almost face-to-face interaction with the people they're treating. And in this day and age, we don't have a lot of that, but it's huge educational time of that one-on-one time where you can really pick someone's brain and get a lot of intel from a really qualified human to add to your life. You kind of knew because of your family, but that practitioner could come to you or your trainer and say, this, and this, like, man, you're getting a load of intel while you're getting work done. Like
big time.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I was blessed to have Dr. Nelson Vitanzi, a Colorado chiropractor here that worked with the Broncos. Still to this day, I've never found anybody that could do to my body what he did. And he did it to like half of the Broncos team, was seeing him when we almost made it to the Super Bowl. A guy who just could watch you, see you, and understand what was wrong with you and fix it, or at least give you a way to get better. And so I've always been in search of those people like Sean. Sean's great because he really he drops in with you. He figures out what's going on and he tries to address it and he gives you things to work on. And, that's one thing hard going from being a professional player where you have a hot tub and a trainer for massage and a chiropractor and a nutritionist all right there.
The tools.
Then you get out and you're like, wait, I got to make 3 different appointments to get a massage and a chiropractic adjustment. And oh man. So finding good people can be really hard. But when you find them and they really care, it's like Sean, it's awesome. Yeah. He connected us because he's like, yo, Kristen does the same things. You guys are kind of in the same thing.
Talks
like,
fashion, does consumer packaged goods. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to talk to her and do this stuff. So, and that's really what I've learned through all of this is like, if you're doing the right thing and you have good thought and good intention behind what you're doing, the people will show up. The connections will be made. And getting into, what I'm into now with the mushrooms and I believe in the mycelium underneath this, that it's such a connectivity of all things nature that once you get into it, you just open yourself up above ground now. And the people I just keep getting connected with good, awesome people. I
always say the vibe attracts the tribe. And it's like, and friends of friend is the best thing ever because it like streamlines the whole process. So like, we have this in common and this is the way you see the world and this is your intention and you're aware of this. And like, you can go from A to C way faster than A to B with just like a normal connection.
There's trust there. There's trust there, and that's what, I feel like through my career and what I did to gain the respect and to come out of this is just that trust there with when I want to bring something to some guys, and like they know my intention. It's never been to what can I do to help me? It's like, what can I do to help you? Because when I help you, it helps me as a quarterback. Like if you're doing better and you're playing the best you can, it automatically makes me look better. So in life's the same thing. If we can bring each other the right things and share knowledge and be there for each other. And that's one thing that really is hard out of the game is that community that you can trust.
Totally.
And it's taken me a long time to build that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have old friends and friends from before I played, but afterwards it's not easy. You just wonder what people's intentions are. And, but when you can find those people and those connections, it really makes life better.
Yeah. There really are a lot of good people doing a lot of good things that really care, that don't have an agenda, or even if they do, they're doing it for the right reasons. Yeah. I mean, there's a good humans. You got to sift through. I feel like it's kind of like a Kohl's sale or something like that. Yeah. You got to really find. I don't think I've ever been to Kohl's.
You got to flow through the whole rack. Like, whoa, yes. At a thrift store, the thrift stores are the same way. Like, oh no, oh what?
Yeah. Did you grow up like religious, spiritual? Like, was this part of your early exposure?
My grandma was a Seventh-day Adventist, and so we went to church with her until I started playing Optimus football, which got me out of church. Or I'd go to church and be able to leave early. My brothers were pissed because they all had to go to church. But it was good to have that upbringing of just the golden rule and how to treat people, and to understand who Jesus was and what his legacy is like how to turn the other cheek, how to always just be doing your best and to affect people positively. And I think that was good. But I had my own feelings about, when Jesus was going to come again. And my grandma kept saying this. And at about 8 years old, I'm like, where's this cat? Like he ain't showing up. I don't know what's going on. But I was raised to understand that, how to treat people right. My grandma was very kind and always helping people. And her intentions were to help you if she thought you needed it. And so I was brought up in that same regard. My mom is a very benevolent human who is always giving so much of herself that I actually have to Mom, no, you're flying down here to see me. Yeah. And I'm going to have you get spas and get a massage, and we're going to hang out, and you're going to turn the TV off, stop reading the news, all that stuff, And so, I was not really super religious, but definitely some spirituality. My mom was, went through a phase where she did a lot of past life transgressions and like intuitives with a friend of hers, went and did a lot of meditation stuff and a lot of things to just kind of go back through her past and figure out even, where she's at in her life. We had a pyramid in our living room, so we could go sit under that, and crystals and not nothing real crazy, but definitely, raised spiritually. And my mom, Esther Hicks and Abraham is one that she would always, I remember telling her, she'd be like, well, Abraham says this. I'm like, Abraham Lincoln said that, Mom? She's like,
there's a few Abrahams. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So, she believes in that, she lived in that kind of enlightened state and seeking answers, and she still does, which put me on the right path. And so, I have a lot of credit goes to my family to have taught me to be just open-minded to what's out there. Yeah. Not even any hard line, dogmas that I live by, other than, what comes full circle. Yeah. What you put out comes right back. Yeah. That's a fact.
Do you think it took you time? Because when you get into these high competitive situations, even as a collegiate athlete, especially on your level and that level of exposure as a young human with minimal life tools, do you feel like you got away from your authentic self for a while and then you found that more when you got done playing football?
That's a great question. It maybe not away from who I really was and my authentic self, but just having to sometimes feel the pressure of needing to be somebody else or needing to be something that I had to just take on and embody. Mm-hmm. But I was Jake the Snake, playing football. My old teammates call me the Snake, but my friends now, they don't call me the Snake. They know me as Jake or as Jason, my real name, Jason. So I almost lived in two different parallels where I was this alter ego quarterback, face of the organization and everybody's assumptions of what that was like. Oh man, at ASU, you must have just done this. And I'm like, no, not really. I mean, I hardly went out. I studied hard. I wanted to win a national championship and get an education. I wasn't there to chase women and do drugs. Right. I was there to play football and see where that could take me, but also get an education. So, there's a lot of assumptions that are made.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I strayed down some paths that I wasn't proud of or was influenced by others to be in maybe some ways of life, or whether that's with dressing a certain way or needing to have a certain car or be caught up in that societal pressure that just gets ramped up when you're in that limelight.
Yeah.
But now I've come back to my real roots of who I am. And, I've always been that.
Yeah.
But I had to also be somebody else a lot of times. I mean, for example, we played in the AFC Championship game. Our weeks were the same leading up to that week. Yeah. Now on Thursday, which is my biggest day to like watch film and to study, and I'm not leaving the facility till 7, 8 o'clock at night. I'm there almost all day. Now we have to get on a bus and come down here and talk to the media. I was pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like, this sucks. You're taking away from my time that I need to prepare for the biggest game of my life so far. And now I got to go down here and answer questions by all these former players who know what I'm going through. And I got to bring a suit.
Yeah.
F you. I'm not doing anything. I went down there in a brown button-up Gap shirt and was like, I got up and said, can we make this quick? I got to study.
Yeah.
I want to get out of here. This sucks. I'm all playing for the man now. I'm not playing for my team. So, but that set me apart too, because my guys respected me. They knew that I wanted to win, and it was the most important thing on my agenda. And I'm not out doing other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely an alter ego life. My wife, when we were dating, she's like, wow, you're like a completely different person when we come home as when we're out and about. And that's okay. I learned how to interact with people. And the beautiful thing I learned, the most important thing is like what I hold in my hand when I go and like interact with people. When I was playing and even now, like that little bit of time you can give someone an authentic, genuine, hello, how are you? Yeah, right on. Where are you from? And I tell my story and they're like, wow, man, you're really cool. I didn't expect that. I'm like, well, you think I was a dick and did what I did? Like my teammates liked me because I was myself. I wasn't somebody else. And so, it's a learning process to come out of that and become okay with who you really are. Within my back pocket, I know I have superpowers, and I was like one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't brag about that, but I know that if I set my mind to something, watch out.
Yeah.
If I get the right people around me, watch out. Serious. Like it's going to happen. Like I know where I'm going and where it's going to happen because they keep showing up. And if they believe, it's just like a game.
Yeah.
We're down by 21. You guys want to throw in the towel? We're going to win this thing. Get off the bench. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And so it's the same thing in life. Like you got to believe in what you're doing. If you don't have the 100% belief, that thought can be damaging.
Well, and like you said, you got to get your people around you. The reason I asked you that intentionally is because you see our young humans now in college, they can monetize their likeness.
Crazy.
So all this business that you experienced as an older human, they're getting it like 17, 18 years old. The recruiting starts earlier. Like I'm here for them getting paid. But man, the business side, like it just becomes so much less pure so early. And you even saw all the players that dropped off from CU this year that, resigned. I can't remember what it's called, but long story short.
To go to the portal or to like go to the draft?
No, they were going to play for Dion and then like 2 top recruits and then they unsigned.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right word. It's something simple. But do you have any good advice for them? Because you were a little bit older, had to transition and manage the business with the passion, because your passion becomes a business. And man, that I experienced that, but not on that level. And it was really, really hard for me.
Well, it's hard because like, the game for me was never about how much money I could make.
Right.
I wanted to go be the best. Like I said, for 1 year, if I could win a Super Bowl, that was it. I was going to retire in 2005.
Okay.
I was done. I had plans to have the MVP trophy, Super Bowl champs, thank everybody in my life because they would have all been watching.
Yeah.
Say thank you, goodbye. But we didn't make it to the Super Bowl, so I came back for 1 more year. So, I never played for that contract. I never wanted the millions of dollars. I mean, of course, I knew it would happen, and it's great that it did. I have financial freedom, and I've helped a ton of people in life. I've helped a lot of people. Also have enabled some people, which is not a great thing. But, being able to have that and to understand that is really important as you pursue what's next in life.
Do you have good words for these kids that are getting that amount of money, or you got Instagram.
I don't know.
There's big dollars coming at young.
It's hard because my motivation was to play in the league to be the best. It wasn't to make money. Now, what is their motivation to go to CU over ASU? Because they can get 150,000 or ASU is only going to give me 50 grand.
Yeah.
But what if that's where you're supposed to go, yet money's now changing your whole mindset from going there? Like, we're on this path and we make decisions. And I don't know, what people out there think, but like, is there a parallel universe where you go right, but the other person goes left? And what happens if you would have gone left? How many of those decisions in your life do you make and get a chance to make? A lot.
Yeah.
I decided to go to ASU. It wasn't for any other reason. It wasn't to go to the desert, to the number one party school in the country, and because their colors were great and the Sun Devil. It was because Bruce Snyder said, I think if you come to this team and this program, you're a missing part of a national championship caliber team. Whoa, you're the only person that said that. We were seconds away from being national champs.
Yeah.
Because I put my mind to that. I didn't leave after the first year. I didn't leave after going 3-8 my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Because it sucked. I was going to quit football. My mom said, no, you shouldn't. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
They'll buy in. You just keep being you. Well, that senior year, we went 11-1. We almost won a national title because I believed, and I didn't let anybody else come along with me that didn't believe also. So when you're not believing, but you're looking for like, how can this serve me? How can I make more money? Oh, CU doesn't like me. I'm going to go play for, whatever.
Yeah.
Some other school. How can you really put your effort into it? How can you put 100% into what you're doing when if it doesn't go right, you can just jump ship and go somewhere else? Or you're going to go for the money. Like, where's your motivation then? Because, money was part of like, I can buy my mom a car.
Sure.
I bought my mom a car on Christmas after my rookie year.
That's awesome.
I bought her a car. In fact, she went and traded it in for a Land Cruiser. I bought her a 4Runner. She bought a Land Cruiser, and it saved her life just a couple years ago in a crash.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
That's
so
powerful.
I knew the money would come, but it wasn't my motivation. I wanted to win a Super Bowl. So like when you give these kids money early, are the workouts really that important anymore? Or you got the nice shoes on now you can go out and take your girl on a good date, or you can go do this or that because you got money now. Now you got the money to go do the things I couldn't do in college. I went back to my dorm room.
Right. Cup of noodles, man.
Yeah,
Daddy
I
light,
lived on
real.
rice and beans,
Yep.
and it was hype time when moms came down and stocked our refrigerator.
Brought you a steak. Yeah, absolutely, man. My thing is isn't the young human, because I think our kids are intrinsically motivated. I think our varsity mission driven kids, they're there early on. I coached for 25 years, my whole life, and you can see it. You can tell which ones really want it and which ones are just enjoying it. Either side is fine. My concern now is the human. You got managers earlier, you got companies coming at you, and you got a lot of people in your ear telling you what to do, and you're so young and you're so vulnerable and there's so much you don't know. I'm here for you to get paid because I don't think it needs to go to the schools anymore. Yeah. But man, it's just a tricky thing. Yeah,
and you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
And there's people out there trying to make $1 on you, and it's just it even happens to pros where they lose a lot of money because a financial guy gets you to sign a power of attorney. And thank God my mom was sitting next to me when I signed with a financial guy, and he's like, sign this too. And my mom's like, let me see these. She's like, we're going to look at these. And then she's like, power of attorney? No. You don't want to give somebody power of attorney. That means they can do whatever they want with your money.
Yeah.
So, having good people, my mom, thank you, Mom, because who knows, ends up that guy did take some money from guys and cost some people I know a lot of money. So yeah, I think athletes should be compensated in some way,
sure.
But I don't know if I like the way it's going now, because a person like Dion that can have such an influence with his brand can bring in so much more to CU than a guy like our coach at ASU, who is not Dion. He's not prime time. He's just a guy who never played the game, but he knows it really well, and he's a great coach. Where are you going to go when you can come here to CU and have Prime pumping you on his social? I mean, you're turning the game into more now of like a stage and an acting job. And
business. Yeah, exactly.
And then what's your motivation? I mean, I think kids nowadays too have seen like sports. They're such a driver of our society and our culture here. But I think a lot of kids are going, I don't know, I want to just play the game. I don't really care if I'm Super Bowl champ or national champ. I just like playing basketball. Yeah. That's like my niece. She's like, I just really like playing basketball. I'm like, oh, Hazel, you're the best. She's like, I really do.
How do you do that? Yeah.
Do you get mad when you lose? She's like, yeah, for a little bit. And then I go out with my friends and we have fun. And like, oh, yes.
Maintain that as long as you can, as long as it can be there.
So Yeah, and our youth, where their motivation is, I don't know. There's so much at their fingertips now.
Yeah, it's a different
so
world.
much distraction, so many.
How are you with social media and your tiny humans, your kiddos?
Our kids, my 13-year-old doesn't have a cell phone.
Okay.
They have devices, but nowadays they're on Duolingo constantly. They just love learning Spanish and getting their points and XP points.
That's so
moving
good.
up to the Bronze League.
Yeah.
So now, they use their devices a little bit. They do their things on them, but they're not on them all the time. And so me personally, I have a phone and, or a computer in my pocket that I can call people once in a while. Yeah. I mostly use it for text and emails and communication. But I don't do a lot of social posting. I'll go on and repost our Get Umbo stuff, or I'll go on once in a while and throw something out there. But I've got someone with Umbo that's creating all that content. Because for me, a phone is can so easily take you out of the moment.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. If you went and just observed at a restaurant, you could see someone they're very intimate and they're together, and then their phone lights up and you can see the person completely disengage and be like, trying to, someone's reaching me and I got to go there. And it's like, it just takes you out of, it's just a constant interruption.
It controls you.
I say this a lot, but I know in time it will happen where I can just put it away.
Yeah.
And I'm good. Cause there's really 3 people, maybe 4 or 5 people in my life that I definitely wanted to have them be able to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
My wife, my mom, my kids.
Yeah.
Then basically anybody else can get a hold of me through them, but I want them to be straight to me.
Yeah.
And Dell, my best buddy, Dell, Jolly with Umbo, but really I don't want it to be this distraction anymore. I've noticed my eyes get tired quicker.
That's funny.
I think our eyes are failing us with these screens.
I completely agree.
Andrew Huberman did a podcast with these kids holding the screen so close that they're giving themselves, I think it's called dystopia or something, where it's nearsightedness.
Oh.
So you have trouble focusing at long range because all your focus is on this right here.
Yeah.
And then you're not training your eyes to see distance.
Okay. That makes complete sense.
So yeah.
I was going to actually ask Sean about that because I'm like, and he does a bunch of right eye stuff for brain testing. I like to stay on the trend setting.
And posture too. Look at people on their phones. They're like, are we going to, in 25 years, are we going to have this society that couldn't get off their phones, that are hunchbacked with big, huge thumbs?
Yeah. And so there's selfie elbow or selfie wrist or something.
Selfie wrist.
I'm not even kidding you. Just like Hoda Kotb had it. She's like, my wrist is sore.
There's a doctor in Boulder giving out prescriptions for selfie wrists.
Oh my.
No,
I was like, what's the prescription? More mushrooms.
I don't know. This whole, we want a quick fix. We want quick access. We want everything. But sometimes you got to realize it takes time. Consistency over time equals results, whatever you're doing, and that could be your daily habits or just working out or eating well or whatever it is. And so, quick access, quick fixes. It's really, I don't worry about our youth because I believe they're more open-minded.
100%.
They're more open to the world because of these things. Mm-hmm. They see people going through the pain they're going through with the war and the Palestinians, all that stuff going on. They see that. They can look that up and see that turmoil and that trauma and that sadness there. So they're very aware of everything out there, which I believe will hopefully help them become a little more open-minded adults to realize that nothing is impossible.
Right.
Let's do this. If we can give them the tools, the next generation is going to be the one that really influences how we treat Mother Earth to make it sustainable for future generations. Oh, and I have a lot of faith in that.
That's why we're here. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think the upside of social media is you have accessibility. You can see and interact with different cultures, different perspectives, different everything. And then on the flip side, you're exposed to all the garbage too and all the ills of our world.
There's mad inspiration on social media if you really go to the right places. But there's also just...
it's a lot of garbage.
Yeah. I'll do something and get a bunch of people spitting poison at me. And I'm just like, oh, what are you doing this for?
Some people have a lot of time too. And hurt people, age old saying. And it's true. If, they're damaged and things are going on, they're going to go, like you said, spew that back out to other people. So you really got to have a filter and you got to have a thick skin nowadays to put it out there. I think I told you, I do a lot with brand ambassadors, influencers before it was even a thing because most of the companies I was working with were startups. So they didn't have budget. So we'd go with key voices, influencers take off. And I'm like, this is great. And you got to find the right humans speaking the right way that are really intentional and aware and get it because I believe in the power of word of mouth. However, you got to do that big filter process of finding the right people and not just the naked ones on Instagram that have millions of followers because they're good looking or something really simple.
And they may have 500,000 followers,
right?
But how many of them listen to them?
Right,
you know?
Right. They're basement
do 10,000 of them maybe give 2 cents about what the person's saying, or do half of them really believe in what that person's putting out there because it's good content?
Exactly.
So yeah, you got to be real careful, and that's what we're venturing into with Umbo, is trying to pursue influencers, the right ones. I mean, even with investors, we've had investors that want to give us money, and it's like, I don't think you're the right fit for us. Like, this is not to profit here. This is to bring this to the people.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we're going to make money. Oh, Jake, how do you say that? You're a capitalist. You have a company. Well, yeah, we're going to make money with this, but like, what is our intention with that? And our vision and mission is really be a cause-driven company that's going to give back to the things we feel like are changing the world and helping people heal from mental illness and traumas, and find a way to get off of our cycle of Western medicine that really is not very forward-thinking in helping us get healthy and preventative medicine and long-term longevity. Yeah. It's kind of sad.
They're not preventive. It's big pharma and big food. They're businesses.
Yep.
And the reality is we're a bunch of gerbils out here. And if you're not cognizant of what you're intaking, intel or food or whatever, you're the gerbil. You're the test dummy on, what they're profiting off of.
And there's where social media can be good. There are some people out there that you should listen to that are telling you, and it's not, that's fake news. No, these guys they're breaking this stuff down and giving you the input on what's in that bottle that you're grabbing from the store and drinking like every day. Like, you should be aware of what's in that.
Hell yeah. Because we didn't grow up with social media, was there one thing in your life, because you talk a lot about awareness and intentionality, that'll probably be something close to what I'll title this whole podcast. But was there one instance in your life where like the light bulb clicked on and you shifted the way you were living on the daily?
I wouldn't say I've had a monumental shift just like that.
Yeah.
But, post-career was really going through it with, when Junior Seau killed himself, that was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I'd met Junior, I played against him. I mean, what a beautiful human, like so effusive and loving and like out there. And then to hear him take his life, like, what the hell? Started doubting what I did. Like, why did I do this? Is this what I have to look forward to? And I have my hips operated on to repair my labrums and avoid hip replacement. And I was just in the muck, like doing it. And I'd had 2 kids, and I wasn't being present for my wife and my family. And then I got the opportunity with Charlotte's Web to be an advocate for a natural way to approach some of these things that we were dealing with as former athletes, mainly inflammation, depression, not sleeping well. And so that was really a big moment when I realized, like, whoa, okay, this is up to me, really. I mean, I'm going to have to do this.
Did someone tell you that, or like, because I'm always curious to like the pivot point, because I wonder how humans in need shift over to like the perspective of like, I am going to heal, I'm going to be proactive, I am going to do this. Because I think that shift is magic, but it's really, really hard.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier the ability I had in my hand to like affect people, and people wanted, hey, what's up? And they wanted to hear and talk to me or come meet me. And so having the right message to give them, I couldn't be in my basement in a huddled mass with headaches, being miserable and angry and a mudge, and then go out and be like, yeah, try this. This is great. I'm succeeding. Look at me. And then go back and be, that's hypocritical. That's not being honest with myself. And it really happened when Nate Jackson, former tight end for the Broncos, introduced me to Ryan Kingsbury, who I just had lunch with before this podcast. And he was working with Charlotte's Web.
Okay.
Those mothers were fighting against our government to give their children that had severe seizure disorders a plant oil from hemp. And nobody knew the difference because it was classified the same as marijuana. So everybody thought it was just like marijuana when it had no psychotropic effect. It was just lumped together because it was a cannabis strain.
People don't know, yeah.
Yeah, and so these mothers, no one was listening to them. And it was helping their children have like a life, not be asleep for 22 hours and then catatonic and seizing for 2 hours and then asleep for 22 hours. Like, this is severe stuff they were going through. And they were facing persecution. That was what our government was doing. That's what our white men in charge were doing to these beautiful mothers. So they came to Colorado, and when no one was really paying attention to them, Ryan Kingsbury said, let's get these athletes that are now taking this. I took it for 6 months and was like, yo, this stuff's good.
Okay.
My headaches went away. That first winter on it, I wasn't curled in a ball in pain, needing a hot tub 3 times a day. I was like opening back up. I was getting on the ground on my knees to play with my kids. I was like, wow, this is doing something to my body that is helping me. I need to share this. So we started talking about it, and the story they started hearing was us and listening and then going, oh, wait, these mothers too? Like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. And then that's when that just exploded. And I feel grateful to have that opportunity. But that's when it kind of was like, okay, if you're going to get out here in front of this, you better be living this too. Yeah. And it still didn't happen. I still was in my healing phase from post-career and figuring out who I wanted to be and who I was. I think it really happened about probably 3 or 4 years ago in the first part of the pandemic when I realized, okay, I was depressed. Yeah. I was not happy. I was looking for my family, my wife, my friends to bring me happiness instead of focusing it on me. And I through the last probably 3 years, I've really actually flipped that switch to where I know now no one can bring you happiness. We're only in control of one thing in this world, yourself and how you react to things. Yep. Because you're going to be presented with all kinds of shit all the time, whether it's death, whether it's deceiving, whether it's, anything, all things can happen. And it's how you react to it and how you choose to learn from it and treat every situation as a learning experience. And so that happened through a lot of different things. To be honest, it's partly the mushrooms, but also the use of some psychedelics and some plants that have been tested through thousands of years, hundreds of years, to treat, traumas and mental health issues amongst the indigenous and other continents. And so I'm, like I said, open-minded growing up as a kid. I knew what psilocybin was. Yeah. I mean, I had cousins that picked it in Oregon, crawled around on the fields and picked them out of horse patty. Yeah. I know this stuff, I mean, I've been around it. So it wasn't like, what is that? Shocking. And I knew what it was like. I knew what it was like to take them. I'd taken them in the mountains and experienced them.
Well, number one, I wanted for our young people to really notice that it takes in your 40s to really get it figured out. There's so much pressure on our young humans to have stuff figured out in your 20s. You're an idiot in your 20s. There's so much you just don't know. Even if you're ahead of the game, you still haven't lived a lot of life. So I always want our young people, thank you for sharing that, to understand, give yourself some grace. Because you got to go through and navigate some of these waters to get to that authentic self. Even if it's kind of there, you got to circle around. But tell me now, because I'm curious, I was actually supposed to do ayahuasca twice and it didn't work out scheduling. And I never even really did marijuana or anything, tequila or was Jameson or Natty Light back in the day. But we got tested for everything as a collegiate athletes and then in CrossFit. So I was constrained, but that wasn't really my space. But I'm super curious of any part you want to share that an experience where it really did change you or shifted the path, or just your experience on it in general, if people are kind of wondering if they're wondering about doing it for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting subject to talk about because of its illegality still.
Sure.
Yet the research that's being done for a plethora of things that have ailed our society for a long time.
Well, psilocybin's almost legal in Colorado.
It's decriminalized. Decriminalized. Okay. There's a big difference. So it's still classified federally Schedule 1. Okay. But it's decriminalized here, so you can use it. And what's different from here in Oregon is you can use it and grow it. And give it to your community.
Gotcha.
So you can't go sell it for profit. And it's not legal. Everyone's, it's legal there. And then I come across this with our products with Umbo. Is like, can I take this and not trip out? I'm like, there's a whole queendom of fungi, an entire queendom with 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 million different fungi in the world. And we have only learned about a little teeny bit of them. And understanding that the ones we have learned about, how useful they are for our health and wellness and how it can help our bodies, it's really exciting for me to be able to, from the first introduction into hemp and knowing the difference between marijuana and hemp and having to educate people on that, like, hey, try this hemp oil, to an owner of a team that I know pretty well in the NFL. That's hemp. And I'm like, this is really good for brain injuries. Get that out of the building, because it was illegal, but it was hemp.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, George Washington, and they were growing hemp. In fact, farmers were mandated to grow a certain amount of hemp back before the 30s when they did the whole, criminalizing and making marijuana illegal. So again, a white man in power.
Yeah.
And I'm a white man and I understand this, but a white man with too much power made a decision that affected so many people. And it's like, now we see these things. It's more glaring when someone does that. And like, although there's still some people that want to follow these dudes doing this stuff. And I'm like, that's why this younger generation coming up it's exciting to see them step into some big roles with maybe step into their father's role, that maybe the company, owner of a Fortune 500 company that is all of a sudden like, yo, why are we putting this stuff in plastic? We could have mycelium bags or compostable bags for all of these Frito-Lay chips, because there's a whole lot of plastic when you eat a bag of chips that's left over. Like, why can't we make these companies do it? Because it's bottom line, it's money.
Yep.
Driven by money is not the way to be, but driven by a cause is. And that's what we want to do here. Back to what you asked me, I mean, like there's a whole bunch of entheogens that are out there for people to experience, but it's not something to just like, oh yeah, let's go do it.
Right.
It's
intentionality,
setting, intention, the lead up to it. Before you do ayahuasca, it's very important that you have a clean diet and you eliminate things from your diet, and you even eliminate sex, marijuana, overstimulation, social media, like anything that could interfere with what this beautiful medicine is going to do with you and come in and teach you and help you, work through, can get in the way. Huh. So some people do it and they just purge the whole time, and it's a miserable experience because they never get into that spot where you get some realizations and maybe some perspective shifts. That was the big thing for me, a perspective shift, to be able to go witness some situations from my past as a video camera on the wall, or be in the eyes of my child.
Okay.
When I'm like, yeah, and like this big man, like getting mad at him for something, like I'm not perfect here.
Sure.
But it gave me that perspective and shifted the way holy shit. Like, whew, wow. And I'm okay with it. I've moved through it. I'm who I am, and I'm here now today, and I'm not going to be perfect from this point forward, but I'm going to do my best to always put out what I want to put out so I can receive it back. And so, yeah, there's beautiful teachings there with the medicine of nature.
I like that.
Yeah.
So if someone is seeking that, what are you think their first steps, outside of because I hear people doing it in their basement on a Tuesday or this, and I'm just like, I don't know about, I'm here for the trend setting tip, but I'm also like,
yeah, don't go into it thinking that this is the answer. Just doing this and you're going to be like, I'm all good, everything's better. Yeah. Because the life still goes on. There's still traffic. There's still bills.
Sure.
There's still that boss that you just don't know how to get along with. But know that it'll give you tools and give you different perspectives to work through. That it's not just a one time and fixes all. Sometimes it is.
Okay.
It can be.
Okay.
But I'm not the one to really know everything about it, because I only know my experience.
Sure.
And everyone's is different. And I'm not one to get up here and prophesize about, hey, this is the answer. But when you're getting results back, helping alcoholics not drink at all, again, with just one session of psilocybin with some nature and some music, that's huge.
Yeah.
Budweiser doesn't want to hear that.
Right.
neither,
for sure.
Neither do the big alcohol Big alcohol does not want to hear that when you do this, you don't want to drink anymore. Because if you look at our society's problems, most of them can go back to alcohol.
Sure.
The bad things I did in my life, the times where I was like, God damn it, I wish I was drunk.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink as much as I used to. I'll have a glass of red wine occasionally.
Yeah.
Very once in a while. Yeah. That's it. I don't want alcohol. I don't need it. I'm present. I'm here. Life is amazing without it. And it actually depresses me and makes me feel really.
Well, it is a depressant. Quite literally.
Even shifting the way I indulge it too. If I get a glass of wine handed to me by my wife, I'm like, thank you. And it's this is love. I'm going to drink this and enjoy every sip, and drink this in joy, not to enjoy it, but enjoy. Then it enters my body differently. That intention you said is so big. Even eating a donut.
Yeah.
I eat donuts.
You gotta live a little, man. I also think it's good to disrupt the system.
Yeah.
You can't be too clean all the time. Any good athlete will tell you this, eat paleo, eat clean, but then eat a pizza on Sunday. You got to keep your system.
But if you go grab that donut and you're like, I don't need this, I shouldn't eat this. This is going to go straight to my hips.
Yeah.
I'm just, oh God, it's going to make me feel, then it's going to do that. This, and this may sound wacky to people, but we pray. Religious people pray. Mm-hmm. I pray every day too. I don't sit with my hands crossed and like, dear Lord, but I send out prayers to people I love.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm indulging in some marijuana, I'll send a puff of smoke out to everybody I love. And when I take that, I'm taking it not to fix everything. I'm taking it because I want to be in presence. I want to be enjoying this. Or if I have a glass of wine, I want to drink it in good company. And so a lot of what thought we put behind things is really powerful. I mean, absolutely. Listen, I didn't do what I did and have the ability to almost win a national title, to get one step away from a Super Bowl, to have people come back from 28 points down. And it wasn't all me, but I know I was a catalyst behind that. I didn't do that without the right thought. And so that's really been a huge thing for me. And even how I speak, how you say things about your body. Like I have a toe that bothers me once in a while and this thing I'm dealing with my neck. But instead of like saying, oh, this goddamn neck and my toes just screwed.
Yeah.
I
love you too.
That's what's happening, like, when you give plants love and you play them good music, they grow better than when you spit at them and yell at them. And it's just proven. Yeah. Whether you want to believe it or not.
Well, everything is energy. I always say, because on Turmeric and Tequila, we're here for the woo. I like card readings, intuitives, like all the energy. And anyone that's uncomfortable with that, usually it's my fellas. They're like, what's the science? I'm like, well, if energy can't be created or destroyed, that's physics. So if that is more digestible for you, knowing that it's like physics and basic, whatever. But like if I'm doing this, I feel the heat and it goes your way and you feel the heat. Like it's science or woo or whatever, it's all kind of the same. Like however you want to brand it is totally fine by me. Just understanding that we can acknowledge that it's a thing.
Yeah. And we're the same as all of this. It's just matter.
Yeah.
And this will disintegrate into dirt and sand just like we will.
Yeah. But the soul and the energy will go somewhere.
Yeah.
That goes somewhere.
And that's been a big learning part too of definitely one of the most profound lessons I've learned is the fear of death and how stifling and debilitating it can be for people and how death can rip people apart, families. It can be a horrible, horrible situation when it should be celebrated, the life that's leaving us, the soul that's going on somewhere else. And so through my journeys, I've learned that, I'm no longer fearful of death. It will be an easy thing when it happens. It's just, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'm not in this body anymore. But what I was fearing was life. Like I was fearing like, damn, I like this song. I don't want to get up and dance. People might think I'm silly.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I'm going to get up and dance.
Let's go.
This is my jam. Like if you're looking at me and you're judging me and going, look at that idiot, then you got to look at yourself because I don't care anymore. I do care because I want to put out the right message and love, but I don't care if you're going to think about me in an adverse way or something silly. Like it doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, it used to. Doesn't matter.
It used to.
Yeah.
Big time. So fearing life was really something that I am still working on, to get over that and jump in. You see people that have a real zest for life.
Oh yeah.
They don't miss it when it happens. They're in it.
Yeah.
And you look at them and they vibrate differently. Their energies are different. And so, we can all reach that. It's just, you got to let go of some of those societal expectations and all that. Well, you got to
know that it's that awareness piece though. Like you got to see that is impacting you to unpack it and then move differently. Yep. Did you have like coaches or someone helping you with this language or awareness? Because some of this is pretty hard to navigate on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few teachers that have come through my life, and I've read a few books that I really enjoyed. Sure. I've had a lot of great friends that I've connected with deeply on a deep level that have become some of my dearest friends in my life in just the last 3-4 years.
Yeah,
that are always there to throw something new at me or to listen to me and help make meaning of certain things in my life.
Yeah.
So you're always it's just a constant learning process. Like to be a happy learner and to just take what life gives you and not, oh, poor me, but okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go poor me and cry and like smash something, but then like get it out and let that be the next awakening or next rebirth.
Yeah. Do you tell me if this resonates at all? But you're kind of saying before we've got choices. The older I've gotten, the more I'm like, I was making conscious choices and I'm intentional. And do I really have that much control? Like I'm wondering, like in retrospect, I'm like, God, thank God it worked out that way, or thank God this happened. It's like I'm like, do we really have control? You got to show up, but like. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think we have control like we like to use the word control.
Yeah.
But I do believe, like I said, you can control one thing and that's yourself.
Yeah.
You really can't control anything but that. When I'm driving, I'm in control of my car, but I can't control the guy next to me in the next lane.
Yeah.
Or his tire falling off and I got to swerve. Like I can only control what I'm doing. And so you really can only control your reactions to anything that happens.
Right.
And I think if you put intention and the right, thought behind what you're doing, that you can't control it, but you can open yourself up to receive these things that you have called forth in your life. And you notice it with little things happening. You know, like if I think about the other day, my brother texted me. And so my dream last night, I was with my brother.
Okay.
And so that happens a lot. And so I feel like those are little signs.
Yeah.
And people are always like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. That train goes across there all the time. Like, well, not when I just told my friend, I haven't seen this train in a while. And then you go out there and there's the train. Like, is there something going on? I don't know. I like to believe there is.
Yeah.
Rather than it's just, well, that's just the way life is. Like, no, that's not. I feel like you aren't in control, but you also can feel a little more like you have
larger order
something going on when you're more aware and you're seeing the signs and you're aware of the connections and you pick up on the little things that happen in your life that most people just glaze over and don't pay attention to.
Totally. Do you think, tell me if this resonates, is a little bit random, but do you think in some way from early on, you had like this intentionality around like leadership or taking responsibility? You've kind of had these opportunities to be on a platform. Do you feel like you're a little bit more protected because you're willing to step into these roles and then be responsible for what comes? Because not a lot of leaders can do that. They'll walk up and want the spotlight and do the things, but when responsibility comes around, it doesn't really, they flee or it doesn't happen. And that, to me, that's the difference between good and great, is the ones that can walk in it and continuously, like you don't really have to keep being a voice for anything.
Yeah, I think these opportunities keep coming around.
Yeah.
I met Del Jolly through Charlotte's Web because Nate introduced me to Ryan and we did that and we helped heal a lot of people or helped a lot of people get better, feel better, live better. So this opportunity came through that where Del and I started talking about functional mushrooms. Like, there's an entire fungal queendom that we have here that Eastern and Chinese medicine have been using for centuries to treat all sorts of different disease and ailments. Like in Japan, they use turkey tail for breast cancer, and they have polysaccharide Crestin that is now a pill that they prescribe to their cancer patients. And so the research has been done and is being done, and these organisms have been around since the beginning of time. And I believe that they know us so well and they know everything, because if you just go look at what's down there beneath us, that mycelial network, the mycelium that spans the globe and is underneath the ground, that communicates and shares knowledge and helps this tree get better when it's lacking nutrients. It takes it from this tree and passes it through a single hyphae, single-celled organism to this other tree. So they know everything about nature. And so when you're getting into this and feeling like, where am I to go? I believe that I'm being not led by them, but I know that I'm on my right path and I feel almost like protected by them in a way.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but I feel when you can live without fear and pursue and have passion and understanding behind what you're presenting and bringing to the world, then that really resonates with people. And it's harder to not listen. As I still come across people that don't want to listen and actually like, wow, okay. But part of that too is living the life that I want to live. Like, I'm not going to sell you functional mushrooms if I'm not functioning.
Right.
I'll be 49 later this month. I still play handball with 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
I still compete with them. I run around. I'm moving.
And 10 years in the NFL.
I'm sore afterwards, but that's good. Like, I played pickleball. I'm still active and I don't ever want to not be active. And so believing that I'm going to live a long time and believing that I'm not going to have to worry about these things we're being told that we have to worry about when we've had head injuries in your body and you're going to have arthritis and you're going to, let's figure out how we cannot.
Right.
Instead of just accepting like, oh shit, I got to go get my brain body assessment so that I know how much brain cells I'm losing. Like, how about we try and see if we can fix that problem? How about we use this
just address it
as a tool to like, not go down that path, flip the narrative. What's the status quo? I don't like the status quo.
Right.
I want to start a new status quo. I want alternative medicine to be like, broke my arm, got to go see my alternative medicine doctor. He's going to do that. Who's your doctor? Oh, this lady that has an herb garden and extracts all this stuff in her backyard and gives it to me. And I'm healthy and I'm vibrant and I'm full of life because we're taking nature and putting it back into our bodies.
I love it.
And nature is grown by the sun, and the sun is our eternal source of energy. So yeah, there's a lot to this, and it's I don't mind stepping out in front of these things because they work and they help me.
Yeah.
If they didn't, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And also with being able to provide a product that's really good.
Yeah.
And it's got what we say is in it, and it's grown and extracted right here in Colorado, our new tinctures. I mean,
so tell us, I've been going to Umbo because this is kind of like the leading point. I think it's fascinating. It's local. You're genuinely an ambassador and bleed the brand. And I know you're like, it's not a brand. I'm like, I get that.
No, it's a great brand.
Brand is cringy. Influencer's cringy at this point. But if you bleed it, it is what it is. Like, I have no problem wearing my t-shirt everywhere because like this is the purpose. This is the intentionality. This is what it is. And embracing that is a thing. But I also like when our influencers and leaders it's still a little cringy to them because it's not about you. It's about the purpose. Anyways, I'm excited about this. Tell us the difference. So before we get in between functional mushrooms, like edible mushrooms, and then the psychedelics, just so we're clear from the get-go.
Well, that's good. 3 classes. Psychedelics we mentioned was mainly psilocybin, although the Amanita muscaria is being used to have some, not psychedelic effects, but some positive effects with people who are microdosing and using that. So we're just learning about this whole entire queendom. I call it queendom because I believe like this is kind of like our mother. This is like the beginning of organisms. This is why carrots grow, is because of mushrooms. And so all of this comes from this queendom, and there's the psychedelics, which everybody here, when I try to give them a bar or like hand them some mushroom products, they're like, hey, can I take this and go to work? Like, yeah, we sell our bars, and we'll start in January. We'll be selling them in REI. And I'm not going to hand you a psychedelic bar here at the Denver Broncos training facility. I'd be foolish. I'd go to jail.
Right.
So there's those which have shown to have a profound effect with mental health issues and dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction. And we're just doing the research now. We're having to do the research, which to me is futile.
Yeah.
It's a waste of money. It's like, people, step into this. Do you need to have 10 doctors tell you because for 20 years your doctor never told you about this? Now you need your doctor to tell you because he didn't know jack before this. Mm-hmm. Now you want him to give you a prescription? Like, this is time-tested, eternal. It's been here forever.
Right.
And so there's those. Then there's gourmet, which, shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, criminy little mushrooms, the white little mushrooms, button mushrooms you buy at the grocery store. But there's a whole lot more. You can forage for them here in the Rockies, one of the most prolific areas on Earth with the amount of like diverse mushrooms that grow in the Rocky Mountains right here.
Okay.
So you can go out certain times a year and find edible mushrooms. Again, this isn't child's play. This is, don't go pick a mushroom and eat it.
Yeah.
I don't do that ever. Even if I know what it is, there's some I know for sure, but like most of them, I'm checking with a few, very good sources, mycologists, people that have been doing this for years to sign off, say, hey, that's good, but don't drink wine with that because you'll get an upset stomach. Oh, okay, cool. It's really tasty and yummy, but don't mix alcohol with it. Okay, good to know. This is really complicated stuff. And what we're doing at Umbo is trying to simplify it to make it easy, which is functional mushrooms. And you go into functional mushrooms, like, what does that mean? Well, lion's mane is a gourmet mushroom and a functional mushroom.
I've seen that at natural grocers.
And lion's mane also, what they've done with some studies, it actually has close to the same effects that psilocybin has, minus the hallucinations and the hallucinogenic effects. So it still does that same like neuronal projection into areas of your brain you haven't touched, and the neuronal pathways throughout our whole body.
Is it better if you eat it raw?
Don't eat mushrooms raw.
I mean, not even lion's mane or
no,
the ones.
No mushrooms raw. No mushrooms raw. Don't put raw mushrooms on your salad.
Really?
The one thing we have to fight is people saying, "Oh, I got a tummy ache when I ate mushrooms." Well, where did you eat them? At the salad bar. There's an enzyme there's a compound called chitin in every mushroom. And chitin is in our hair and in the exoskeleton of mollusks and invertebrates.
Okay.
So we can't digest it. We don't have chitinase and our enzymes in our stomach to break that down. So then when you eat raw mushrooms, there's just this glob in there and you get a stomach ache.
Oh.
Always cook your mushrooms.
How have I never heard that before?
It's just, I mean, you can eat little bits raw if you want, but I wouldn't, because it's better to cook them and break down the chitin that frees up the beta glucans, which is one of our markers for testing potency right now. Okay. As we're coming across a bunch of polysaccharides, a bunch of different, different compounds in these that are, it's mind-boggling, because when we first started with hemp, there was like 25 compounds, and then there was 60, and now there's 100. Okay. Reishi has, like, that we know of right now, 500 different compounds in it. Okay. So this is real advanced stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, get into like into the weeds, no pun intended.
I love it. I'm 40, I'll be 49, but my kids, they know about this. Like, they're the future. Like, my kids will have a job because of Umbo. Yeah. That's what Dell and I really wanted to, is like, what are our kids going to do when they're 25? Oh my God, work at a hotel. Like, oh, what are they going to do?
Well, what do they want to do?
Let's start something that they could jump into. Marketing, sales, even like breaking down the compounds, get into the chemistry and the biology behind this and understand what these compounds do for us, and the diversity that's provided to us through these mushrooms is amazing. Yeah. I mean, we've scratched the surface. We've just barely scratched the surface right now of a whole entire building, a 20-foot floor building made of bricks. We've only maybe discovered half of the first floor. Right. And so, like, future generations are going to get to the second floor and then the third floor, and not only what it does for our health and wellness, but what it can do for Mother Earth as a mycoremediation, mycofiltration. There's also textiles you can make out of mycelium. Okay. And there's all kinds of stuff happening. But again, it's going to take time because the powers that be want you to buy that plastic that breaks in 2 years, so you buy more. So it drives that machine. And so things are changing, though. Yeah. And it's exciting to step in front of it and to be a part of this, as a lot of people are. A lot of individuals are talking about it, but most of them are talking about psychedelics, which that's your own personal story. Sure. Functional mushrooms, there's no barrier to entry. There's no hallucinations. They're completely 100% legal. I'm selling food with our bar and this drink. They're food. Yeah. It's food that you're not putting into your system. For years with mycophobia, we eliminated them from our diet. Right. So this is just reintroducing a food group back into our systems. Amen. And benefiting.
Yeah. Well, it's been around, again, I think our younger generation, especially markets like Denver, Seattle, New York City, LA, like, people know, I know, I told you other brands that I was familiar with 10 years ago. They were kind of doing something similar and navigating, and they were on like the edge of breaking down doors, which I think it's cool that you guys are a little bit later, because they've already like broke down some of those doors. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just differentiate yourselves and be more intentional. And I love that you're really heading towards athletes and athletics. I haven't seen any other brands do that. And I really think our athletes and our former athletes are the ones that need it the most, because one side, their bodies are broken out, whatever. Also, our athletes usually tend to be future leaders in some capacity. Yeah. Parents, coaches, CEOs. Like, I think that mission-driven high drive is always there. So if they're going to be out there leading people, like, let's get them on the trend-setting tip.
Yeah, they can go that route, but a lot of them can spiral down too. Absolutely. Because it's hard to face life when it's not as grand as running out of a tunnel at Broncos field. Like, there ain't nothing really to compare to that. But when you find something you're passionate about and when you can help people, for me, it's amazing when I get an email back from somebody who's like, my God, I'm sleeping better. Yes. Thank you so much. I am getting a full night's rest using replenishing sleep. Yeah. Thank you. I'm like, oh, all right.
It matters. It mattered.
I could quit right now. I'm just fine.
No one's calling you saying thanks for running through the tunnel. Although I hear you. I got to put that to my list. If I can't do that, we'll get these. But real feedback, if you know me and you know Turmeric, Tequila, and KO Alliance, my company, you don't see a lot of brands on my socials or anything. When I have a fan of something, I'm a fan. But I've taken the sleep capsules for 3 nights now. And I wear double trackers. I was going to compete a couple years ago. So we started as an older person, started to navigate all the angles. And then I got addicted to the Intel, which isn't also my personality. But I had measurables of noticeable sleep change. REM sleep was better. Deep sleep was better. So that's cool. Wow. And then the bars, I did tell them, like, they're actually good. I've tried every consumer packaged good really that's out there, especially in the bar space. And some were pretty good. You're eating a consumer packaged good. It's not like you're picking fruit off a tree. However, salt. It was savory and sweet, tastes good. There's sunflower seeds and macadamia nuts, and it's really good. And I'm training for this marathon thing, which is a whole other podcast. If you put it in your bag and it's warm, it can squish if need be. It doesn't melt. Like it's very functional as far as packing, which is a big deal. So I love that you guys in REI, because I actually think that market, which I wouldn't have initially thought until I was doing the thing, is a great one because it can get smashed or beat up and chocolate's not going to melt all over. Yeah. And it's a good chunk of fuel on the go. So cool. In addition to the mushrooms, in addition to the
Thank
good
you
stuff,
for the feedback.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to make mushrooms taste good because a lot of people are like, oh, it gave me a stomach ache or I don't like the taste. Well, our bars taste really good. Not only are they actually good, they're actually really good for you. 2,500 milligrams of 5 functional mushrooms in each bar. That's 500 milligrams of 5 different mushrooms. Yeah. When you maybe drink a coffee product, you may be getting 25 milligrams, 25 milligrams, and the recommended daily dose is 1,000. Oh, that's what they're saying. So
the bar's not even that big.
For that so we just wanted to set the bar high for these products because we looked at all these products out there from 10 years ago and great. Thank you for being the pioneers to start this, but you weren't really putting a lot of mushrooms in there. And we know now like the consistency over time equals results, and putting enough in your body is really important. And so we wanted to do that. I mean, we're really excited. These are 2 of our newest products here, our drinks and our tinctures. The tinctures are, I grew the reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps.
You tell us really quickly about your farm, and I want to touch on Jake Plummer Foundation too.
The Mycolove Farm came about after we started Umbo. I got Dell Jolly, my homie, who helped me get going in this whole, kind of rebirth and getting into the mushrooms. He said, hey, my uncle's brother bought a farm in Fort Lupton and it has a mushroom grow. You want to take over it?
Universe like, sure, out,
let's
man.
do it.
Yeah.
So I went out there and started way over my head, started growing mushrooms, mainly lion's mane and some gourmets. And then I found Shane Schoolman, who is a wizard genius, like not trained in school, but trained through like learning what it's about. Like he is a master at extraction. What he's doing is amazing. Michael Heim, who's a forager and a chef, who understands gourmet mushrooms and is just passionate about this. We found these guys. And so we started the farm. We started growing more medicinal functional, which are reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane. We tried turkey tail. We have an experiment with getting consistent with that. We're trying to get tremella going. Some of these mushrooms that people know nothing about. But I'm so excited because this is grown here in Colorado, extracted in Longmont, bottled, and we did all the design and packaging on our charge, which is in the morning, take it. And that's what it does. It charges you up. It's got cordyceps, chaga, and lion's mane in it. And then the recharge is for after you do your activity or in the evening when you want to relax. And it's got turkey tail, tremella, and reishi. Tremella is a hydrating mushroom. Turkey tail is a gut balancer, really good for the immune system. They use it, like I said, for cancer patients. It's huge to protect your cells. And reishi is an amazing calmative for your nervous system. It's like a warm blanket for your nervous system when we're under barrage outside from all these things. And the charge has, like I said, chaga, which is considered the king fungus. It's like a cure-all, can help so many different things. Cordyceps, which is a vasodilator, works at a cellular level to initiate ATP, which is my cells need oxygen. Well, they're already they already have it there. So you'll feel yourself break your personal best, push your wind wall further, recover quicker from hardcore like cardiovascular activity, and the lion's mane, which is neuronal growth and repair for your body, and focus. And so we're really excited about those. And then our drinks, our play and our pause, says it right there. You're gonna go play, drink this one. It's got again cordyceps, lion's mane, and chaga, but also has adaptogens and some electrolytes, 5,000 milligrams of electrolytes. And that's from Boulder Salts here in Boulder.
Okay. Yes. Locals.
So another great company, but it's beautiful things, 4 grams of sugar.
Okay.
And it's not added. That's just what's in what we do. With 10% of that is natural fruit juice that we add to coconut water, and a formula that we created through a friend that wanted to get it into a bottle. So we're like, let's do it. And then our pause has reishi, turkey tail, and tremella. Again, you need to replenish those salts. People are understanding salt better and electrolytes. Like you need to put that back in your body so that your cells are hydrated. wait, salt dehydrates you. No, salt hydrates you if you do it right. You eat the right salt. So we're really excited about this because they're low in sugar. They're all natural. There's no fake fillers. There's nothing but natural, real products in that. And so we'll see where it goes. I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited too. I think it's super interesting. Have you ever done neurofeedback?
No.
Okay, I think you need to do that one point. It's really, I've done 2 different brain maps. Most of the stuff I got into because it was clients, but it was awesome because I was an athlete. Long story short, I'd be really curious if you did a before and after brain map and then did neurofeedback and notice if there's any difference taking these, like a very small basic study, but I'd be curious just to see.
I know Sean could probably help me with that.
For sure.
And we've been wanting to do that. It's just a matter of time. But in time, we want to do that with certain athletes that want to get into it.
Yeah.
I know there's a whole entire group of former athletes that have had their baseline done for the concussion study. So I know like where they're tracking their markers and stuff. And when we can introduce these products to them, which some of them already have, I'm excited to get the feedback back of how where maybe they were going along at a steady pace. Maybe they spiked in some areas. So obviously data is important.
For sure.
But I'm less about that and more about how it makes me feel and experientially what it does for me. And I just know like, I'm not only feeling better every day, but I'm also putting into my mind and my thought of like longevity.
Yeah.
My body functions better. All my bodily functions and systems are functioning at homeostasis. So I'm not spiking my adrenals and my endocrine system way down I'm balanced. And when you're balanced, you burn less energy to function. Mm-hmm. So I feel energized all day. I'm ready to go to sleep. I turn the light out. I go to sleep. I sleep. I dream. My dreams are amazing. That's why I think your dreams are when you go, instead of going left, you went right. Well, when where you would have gone left, that's where your dream is. If you would have gone left, this is where you would have gone. Listening? I don't know. That's hilarious. Also fun to try to like imagine, but yeah, we're real excited. Thank you for having me, for trying the product and sharing that feedback. I don't get behind anything unless it really works. And so this is something I believe in. And it's not just this, you're obviously active. Mm-hmm. You watch what you eat. You probably watch what you're attentive to what you watch, how you speak, who you hang out with. Like a lot of this goes into that. Like if this can make you feel a little bit better though, then you'd go to yoga or you go on that hike because you're able to. And then that is just one more step further that snowballs into more activity. And once you start moving more, all those ailments, they can go away.
Yeah.
Depression can be cured just through nature. We're finding out you can just be in nature and feel better. So it's exciting.
That's amazing. I mean, the potential for impact is huge. Touch on us really quick about Jake Plummer Foundation.
Yeah. That started long ago when I first started playing ball. It kind of fell off. I wasn't doing a whole lot of stuff with it. I was having a handball tournament for a few years where the money would go into the foundation. But we put the Jake Plummer Foundation on there. Part of the proceeds will go to the Jake Plummer Foundation. And that gives me a chance through that foundation to really make a difference with humankind. Let's be both. Yeah. Humans and kind help humankind. That gives me the ability to help and to get involved with whatever I want, really. Most of it will be doing some research, whether it's on functional mushrooms or through Unlimited Sciences, an organization that Del Jolly helped start that's doing responsible research on psychedelics. Because it's not stopping. This is happening in our country where psychedelics are being used for mental health, but it's how we do it and making sure that it's done responsibly so that the stories coming back are not of that one story of horror that keeps somebody from finding relief from something or maybe just approaching that and going after like feeling better. I can't say this cures anything or takes care of anything, but it can give you the hope that you need to approach life to make things better. And really, isn't that what we want? Is to know that there's something out there that if we try, it can maybe help us feel better and function better and live more fuller lives. That's really what's behind this whole vision and cause.
There you go. Just open-mindedness where it kind of all began to a better way. I mean, it's that simple and yet that complicated all in the same thing. Final question that I ask everybody that comes on. Jake, what is success to you?
Oh, wow. Success is being able to go to sleep at night and know that I did my best, that I had a good day. It doesn't mean I built a building or I accomplished every goal, but I had a good day. I left people lighter. I walk the earth in grace with, love for humankind. I think that's success. Because, you can measure my success from years ago, 17 years ago, like, and people, you're still living on that. No, I've moved past that.
Yeah.
That was just a stepping point into what I'm really in here in this world to do. And that's to share things like this, to go and share what some people may want to learn about, but their circle doesn't want them to, or they don't feel comfortable in their circle talking about it. But to find the curious individuals, that's really fun.
Yeah.
And so success is just being present, being here in this moment, because I can't do anything about my past and I can't do much or worry about the future, but what I can do right now is so important. And it's a daily challenge.
Absolutely.
3 kids, a wife, a family that has their own deals. Like, it's a challenge, but with the tools, with the belief that everything is here and happens for a reason. I like to go to bed at night going, oh, hey, good. I had a good day. And part of my day is pursuing joy.
Hey,
even like
amen.
This is joyful to be able to talk to you and to share and go play pickleball, go get on my bike, go eat good food, find joy, pursue joy.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year, joy to the world. It's Christmas time.
It's a lot,
oh
man.
my God, you better make sure you set aside some time for joy. And that may be just playing Yahtzee with your kids.
Yeah.
But drop everything and fall into that joy. That molecule is so good for you. Yeah. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, it can change your life. And so I put a real, passion towards that. Like, I go home right now, I'm going to either go to yoga, I might go dance with a friend.
Yeah.
I might go get on my mountain bike to just ride for 20 minutes. I might go just sit by the creek and go, wow, man, it's so beautiful where we live in a country where we're not being bombed.
Yeah.
We're able to go drive around freely. We are blessed. This is a beautiful place to be.
Amen. Vitamin J, joy, go get it. I love it. And there's so many things, just that conscious appreciation and everything you give. I always like to remind people, it's about giving, serving your purpose, living a life of service, doing this, all the things you can do for your mental health, the way that gives back to you and that chemical reaction with your body when you do show up for someone else. To me, there's nothing else that is as important as that.
Generosity.
Facts.
We're in REI because I gave bars to my handball buddies.
There you go.
And one of them's wife worked at REI in Boulder. And so
strategic partnerships, never sleep on it. But the social, that's so part of it. You're just showing up. And so it's so non-agenda. Those are the magic moments when the universe shows up.
Be open to receive.
Yeah. Where do we find you? Instagram's, websites, hit us with it.
You can find me at Snake Plummer on Instagram, Snakes Takes on Twitter. I'm not a huge ton active on there, but we do throw out information and our podcast for Umbo at Get Umbo, GETUMBO. And that's at Mycolove Farm is where you can go see what they're up to try to be a supply to grow and extract these mushrooms and give them to companies and provide them to more and more people.
Love it.
So that's where you can find us.
Boom. Real quick, why did you choose Umbo, the name?
Dale came up with that. Umbo has a lot of different meanings. One is it's the very top of the fruiting cap of a mushroom, the very tip top.
Okay.
So we have an umbo in our eardrum. I found out it's a point of it, one of our parts of our eardrum. And then on a shield, the boss in the middle, the little part that sticks out, that's the umbo. Oh. So anything that kind of sticks out or is like protruding or like the top of something. So that's the umbo.
I'm here for this. See, intentional. I knew it wasn't going to be like, I don't know, we were drunk one night and wrote it down. And you'd be surprised some business I've worked with, but that's very cool. Well, I appreciate your time and energy. I love that you are clear on this mission and you're here to serve, make the world a better place. That's what we need at this day and age. So go check these guys out. They're local, my Denver humans. We got to support the local fam. Go Broncos, of course.
Yes.
But we're here for our good humans doing good things.
Thank you. You too. You're doing good things to bring awareness and to just as an educational tool. If someone might have heard something today they can use, that's doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.